Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm back here in my clubhouse gym, which is really nice because the place is often very secluded. Not a lot of people come up here to work out. I don't know why, so I take advantage of it. I wanted to do a video today on some things involving the legs in the gym. I was a licensed massage therapist for about 2.5 years in the state of Delaware. I took a lot of courses in human anatomy, and once I understood the body better, I really tried to focus in later on in my life at applying those skills to my own body. And then of course that translates to meeting people in the gym and helping them achieve better results. I by no means am an expert in weightlifting and bodybuilding. I'm learning every day just like everybody else. So whatever I tell you, just understand this is what works for me and what I found dealing with a few injuries here and there and being able to recover, especially after being sick or in this case spraining my ankle, both of which did happen recently, and it can be a setback. And sometimes there's great little keys and ways to get yourself back in there and make significant improvement on your time off or after an injury. Something I wanted to start with was the feet. A lot of times when I'm actually lifting in the gym, especially for leg workouts, I won't wear any shoes at all. You're only as strong as your weakest link, and human beings go every day with shoes on our feet. That being said, there's a lot of small intrinsic muscles in the foot that don't get used, and sometimes when you're lifting, you become dependent upon your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes, and these are major movers of the body, but a lot of focus is taken away from calf muscle and foot development. So when I'm lifting, a lot of times I will do it without shoes to have better stability on the floor and help get myself and the weight up where I need to be. In this case, with your feet, you have a natural arch under here. Some people's feet are flatter than others. Some people have very high arches. I've seen both in my life. When you go to take a squat stance, it's important to find yourself relatively shoulder width apart. Sometimes a little bit wider is okay. I don't mind it. I go wide all the time. It helps with my stability, but you never want to stay so terribly close together unless you're trying to activate the quadricep muscles, in which case if you are and you're newer to the sport or you're just trying to get relatively smart, encourageable gains in strength and muscle, I would try to use a lower weight when your knees are close together. That'll give you a lot more control on the descent, the pause, and coming. So here I've got some 30-pound weights. I'm gonna use these as working weights during the set. That way when we go through, I have something to push back against and not just my own body weight. So in the case of ankle mobility, when you sprain your ankle, there's a series of tendons that run along the outside of the ankle here to help support it. They give a lot of control to the muscle body further up in your leg. In the case of sprain, you stretch, in some cases tear these ligament and tendons, and the recovery time can vary for people. Most cases, you're looking at least 6 weeks for proper tendon recovery, along with a little bit of rehabilitation, ice, compress, rest, elevate. In the gym, a lot of the time, I'll see ankle collapse, and what that is when people are lifting, they'll tend to roll their ankle inward, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the inside of their foot. You look at the line in my feet here, it comes from the outside in, and then back up that way. So you have this broken kind of shape there. Now, when you utilize muscles in the feet, and you know what, let me take this black sock off. When you utilize muscles in the feet to grip the ground, you actually activate the arch in your foot as opposed to just letting it go damp. Look at that, look at how much that falls. I can't even get my fingers under there. Versus activating, just like if you were to grab the ground with your hand, getting space under the foot. So you go from this broken kind of an angle there, as opposed to gripping the ground. Now, all that weight that you're stacking on top of your body is going to transfer up into the bones of your leg and the muscles of your leg to help transfer that weight load appropriately to the knee, which translates to your hip, which translates to your back, even your upper neck, shoulders, and there's a whole bunch of things. But remember, things start from the ground up. So let's take this into effect. In the case of a wide stance, some of us trying to practice things called a sumo squat, you take a really wide stance, more than shoulder width apart. A good lightweight exercise I like to try and utilize would be an adjusted form of a sumo squat going into a goblet squat. Now, a goblet squat is when you're gonna hold the weight here at chest height and bring it up with you. But in the case of the sumo squat, since you're getting a really low stance, you can keep the weight below waist level. This is kind of nice because it transfers that weight pointed out into your toes and really anchors you in place for the lift. In the case of this, when you're getting the lift, you're gonna get a lot of activation inside on the hamstring, and at the top of the pull, your glutes are gonna help with the squeeze that's gonna lock you out at the top. So it's pretty simple. You just grab the weight, come down, you wanna sit yourself. So if you were to look at my back and my butt, you're coming down low to engage that weight. See how much of my weight and back is behind me? I'm not forward like this and putting a bunch of strain on my knee and over into the front of my ankle. You're dropping your ass back, sitting into it, and then with a good posture, not looking up, mind you, looking forward, even slightly down, you just want to squeeze your glutes and engage those hamstrings to pull up at the top. Right here is where the activation of the glute and the hamstring come together. Now in the case of something a little bit more traditional, I'm going to take these 30-pound weights and slug them up on my shoulders. I'm also very comfortable in this position. I practiced a lot of hip mobility over the past year to make it so that I can get into a deeper squat form better, even by widening my stance. This is not at all an uncomfortable position for me. So, my feet just slightly shoulder width apart, being conscious about how I'm engaging the ground with my toes. The important thing, just like the previous movement, is to come down. A lot of people tell you, don't let your knees track over your feet. I found though, that in natural human movement, when you do come down with the weight and you track that movement, you want to fall out forward and just in front of the toes. Not, mind you, my knees are not collapsing inwards. As I come down into the motion, I track that weight outward and my legs stay parallel to the ground to support the load. And at the bottom, you squeeze and engage your quads, hamstrings, and glutes at once to power up and lock out at the top. Something a lot of people, almost everyone, at some point deals with is a term referred to as butt wink. And that is when you're coming down into the descent of the squat, you will notice that the glute rounds right at the end. The entire sacral joint of the hip bone and the low back connected to the lumbar. It'll be coming down nice and flat, and then it'll round out. So usually it looks something like this. Right here, you get this dipping motion. And all that support that you get from your low back, it goes out. And then when you come back up, you see they're still in this rounded spot. They're straining in their hip joint. There's a lot of tension down here in the groin. And you come up, and usually that also translates to locked out knees. That weight's not going out and up, it's going in. And right here, there's a lot of movement in my hip joint. So in the case, even with a body weight squat, coming down, feet spread just appropriately apart, a little bit more than shoulder width with a conventional standard squat form. You're gonna come down, bracing that weight. The more I lower myself, I'm physically putting the weight of my body behind me. But look at this beautiful parallel line between my feet, through to my shoulders, and up towards the ceiling. And that way, as you get down to the bottom, and your hips move apart, it allows you to drop that weight further, as opposed to rounding out. Things like this will help tremendously, and they will help you avoid injuries. Anyone who begins lifting should always pick a weight that's sensible. Just because you see other guys and girls lifting bigger than you, doesn't mean you have to jump that far forward. You don't have the ligament, the bone density, or the muscle capacity to lift that kind of weight. Most of these people have been training for years, if not most of their lives. I weigh 190 pounds, and personally, I can work with a squat weight of about 200. I see some guys out there doing 350 as their warm-ups, and that's awesome. I'm not at that point yet, and I pick a weight that's comfortable for me. So for most of you, if you're getting into the gym, start with something simple. Usually the bar itself weighs 45 pounds. That's an excellent way to gain proper form and learn more about your body. You're gonna find where your weaknesses is. Do you get to the bottom of the squat and you don't have power to get out? Do you find yourself coming down uneasy? Watch yourself in the mirror. Does one leg rotate out? A lot of times you see people going for the squat and you'll see this kind of leg weakness. One leg is stable and the other one's not. In this case, I was using my right leg as an example. I'm actually right leg dominant, and I notice in the gym, when I do come down to my heavy squats, I have a little bit of a rotation to the left side. So I'm trying to figure out where in the muscle chain it is that I need to work on those things. A lot of people, including myself, think it may come from my back strength, either on the descent or the pull upwards, there's a unilateral imbalance and it's causing a torquing motion which translates to my hips. You gotta be careful with stuff like that because a bad twist will throw out your back, causing a herniation of the spine, or in some cases you can even tear or completely rupture an ACL on your knee, and that's gonna set you back. You're gonna have surgery, you're gonna need cadaver parts, stuff like that. So just be careful, be sensible. Growth takes time, especially in the legs, but it's the biggest body movement, it's the largest mechanical component of the human body. Your butt, your thighs, your hamstrings, your calves all work in unison to propel you forward. And when you start a workout at the beginning of the week, if you're in a traditional chain, it's really good to start with your legs. It's the biggest movement in the body. It's gonna help develop growth hormone, testosterone. Even you ladies, don't think testosterone is just limited to men. Women produce as well, just men have more of it in their bodies. And actually, as we get older, those levels balance out. That's why your grandparents tend to look more like themselves together now than they did when they were younger. So don't think you're immune. Yeah, so let's just get into a couple workouts here, and I'll show you guys some examples of things that I would do in the gym to rehabilitate or reintroduce a new weight compound to move forward. Even though the weight is lighter, you will find that wherever you have weaknesses over time and in high repetition, you will burn out incredibly fast. I was sick and I took off from the gym for about 10 days. And about a month ago, I sprained my left ankle and I couldn't do really any lower body weight. I was stuck to doing leg extensions, leg curls, and kickbacks on the butt machine just to try and maintain something. And get back in there and trying to go for a 300-pound deadlift. It was like I had no gas in the tank. So, back at it, drop the weight, half it, down to about 150 pounds and just work from the ground up. You gotta be humble, you gotta stay hungry, and you always gotta be the hardest worker in the room. I think Rock Johnson was the one who said that. So, warm up, 5 minutes on the treadmill, that's what I like to do. Just a brisk jog, get total body blood flow. There's a little bit of controversy on this, but leg extension and leg curls. Some people say avoid them altogether, depending on what you're going for. Bodybuilders, especially if you're trying to isolate muscles and chase the pump, that's a great way to do it. And I actually warmed up earlier tonight with leg extensions, so that way I'd have adequate blood flow in my quads. I work in a van all day, so I'm stuck in traffic driving. I really don't get to use my legs as much as I'd like to, so when I come to the gym, you gotta attack them from all angles, and it's the best way to let your body grow. And don't forget, get your calories get a good night's sleep, just have fun with it. That's the important thing. The worst workout you can do is the one you never got to do. It's better to go to the gym and fuck around for 30 minutes and at least try and do something, bang out a half-ass leg set, or if you're not feeling it, just move. Push-ups, sit-ups, some body squats, crunches, whatever. Hit the curls, try and do some pull-ups on the pull-up bar. It's important to stay in motion. The body in motion stays in motion. And yeah, man, hopefully this helped you out as much as it helped me in the learning experience. I'm trying to do more videos like this for you guys, so any kind of feedback would be appreciated. So until the next time, get out there and live every day as if it was your last, because you never know when your spotter won't be there at the gym. Not saying that has ever happened. So until next time, guys, take it easy.